Yes, it is Richard here, Richard Aoday. I often get comments saying I do sound a little bit like him, but I do have a pair of testicles, unlike young Richard. It's my long-awaited Gran Turismo 7 split-screen review, and I have a few things to say about the split-screen version of this game, and none of them are very good things, and that's why I've put it so late, because this game came out in March, launched with a load of controversy with DRM, and I wanted to hold back to see if they pumped in anything else to the split-screen mode, because I knew, full fact, that it's going to be bare bones, but it's far more bare bones than you could possibly imagine. First thing that crops up is not being able to find it at all on any of the menus, and I've put about 5 hours into this game, got it 3 or 4 days ago, and just sat down with some of the licenses, wanted to have a look at that ray tracing performance, and couldn't see the tab. I had an old mate drive 3 hours over here to test this mode as well, so I was understandably frustrated when we were looking to go into the local co-op content and it was nowhere. You have to put a bunch of hours in to do these stupid menus in the stupid cafe, which I'm kind of annoyed with, even on a single player level. To have a split screen mode like this locked behind a play wall, alright, if this was a mercenaries mode, which was like award winning and totally amazing and gave you incentive to play through an entire campaign to get through, understandable. But this is the most lackluster split screen mode ever to be rolled out on a AAA game, and Polyphony had the arrogance to lock it behind a play wall. That's saying something about this developer. It's a bit like someone who's owed you a minuscule amount of money for ages and they say, yep, I'll pay you back. You meet them, they hold the money out, and just as you're about to take it, they whip it away and go, say please. No, you're lucky I didn't chin you when you turned up. One saving grace, and something I was petrified of, was the car selection and how much we had to use when we entered the split screen mode. I thought it was only going to be my garage, which would have been dire. It does actually give you quite a good cross section with some really high-end cars in there, but none of this matters because of what's coming up later. So that selection wealth bleeds out into the tracks also. I was quite pleased with the amount of selection I had in that direction. Because I'm barely through that single player, I thought, oh god, it's only going to give me what I've opened, but there was a bit more. So thank Christ for those 2 plus points. A major minus is this aspect ratio. What are you doing showing us a video game like this on a PlayStation 5 in 2022? Have you not looked at the market? Have you not seen what games are out there? Even an indie game will give you a decent full screen split. It's absolutely embarrassing, and it's a nail in the coffin, I think, for Gran Turismo's split screen local co-op modes going forward. This one has got to be the worst by a square mile. Here is the absolute killer. You might have noticed on the right screen that I've still got my assists on and I've still got my racing line on. Obviously that's all pulled off when I play the game on single player, but this second profile cannot have those variables adjusted. So I really thought about this out the box. I went into the second profile on single player and took off those variables, thinking that it would save them on the profile, back into the other player profile, uploaded the second profile to see if there's any change, resets it all. So this is the deal. You are nerfed as player 2 because player 1 can have all their restrictions off. The only way maybe to get around this would be to put player 1's restrictions on, but if you play this game with big assist, there's barely any point touching the pad. The computer does about 90% of the driving for you. So disaster on that front. We had to just grin and bear it and just really laugh at how broken this mode was. Another thing that annoyed me a little is some of this ray tracing and really good water and weather effects, they're not really there when it comes to the 2-player local mode. I thought we would get that because of this disastrous aspect ratio may boost some of the in-game effects, but nope, it's really downgraded. You can get on the inside of this, I'll take the outside, it's all yours mate if you want it. So that treble whammy of BS is just an unmanoeuvrable chicane to get round. Normally when I do split screen reviews on games and they're not 100%, I try and sort of paint quite a bright picture because there is quite a lot of fun to be had with someone next to you when you play cool games. Destroy All Humans being one example, but the driving thing really hurts because it is some of the best fun you can have with local split screen, and this is one of the biggest AAA franchises that has traditionally always catered for it quite well. When you look at Game Pass and stuff like MotoGP 22, game that handles 21 other players, AI, all hurtling around with you, increases the immersion 50,000%. How have they not spotted that this is the boringest game mode they've ever offered? In their chief exec lounge, has no one just knocked on the door and said, by the way, every other game that offers this mode has at least 15 cars on track? It's probably just not a squeaky wheel for them, and you know, I'm not the biggest of YouTubers and I don't often see videos complaining about this mode. This one was particularly difficult because it had been 20 years since me and my mate had sat down with Gran Turismo, so it was really nostalgic and we could benchmark so clearly where this game had started to just walk away from its local co-op, and it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Its single player could also go towards a whole new video, so keep tuned for that one. So what do we do after we play this? Yeah, of course we do. Dirt 5. And the smiles just rippled over our faces within seconds. I looked over and said, this is better than Gran Turismo 7 already. An agreement was had. So that was my lesson learned this weekend. Don't put all of your eggs in one AAA split screen basket. Certainly not a £60 one either. And probably look into your back catalogue for some really good split screen racing games. There's a whole bunch of indie ones. I'm going to whack some annotations in because there are some crackers out there. Wipeout being one of them also. But this being on Game Pass, and we had it on the PlayStation Network, 4-player, this runs at 4K split screen, 60 frames per second. It's a stunning piece of kit and it really will warm the cockles of any local co-op split screener. I have of course been Couch Coop, and I will see you down there. Thank you, Richard.